And now, from Television Centre, at the very centre of television, it's the Ben Elton Show. Thank you so much, and thank you for that kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you here in the studio, and also those at home, thank you for joining us at this rather late hour. Now, I'm here to tell you that it's a bad time to be a bloke. Oh yes, this is official. Surveys released this week confirm the growing suspicion that all is not well with men in Britain, particularly young men. It seems they're becoming isolated and aggressive. This is true. Apparently, statistically, the heavy industrial jobs which used to keep them occupied, those jobs are gone. Girls are doing better at every level at school. The future is female. And beyond all that, there's a physical reason why men are feeling undermined and on the back foot. And of course, not surprisingly, it's located in the gonads. The problem, of course, is sperm. That's right, sperm counts are down. No, seriously, this is true. 20% down since before the war. That's a horrendous depletion. We think we're the lads, don't we, eh? Yeah, we're the loaded generation, the boys, eh? But every man watching this programme is packing a considerably runnier mix downstairs than Grandad did. That's official now. You all thought that Grandad was a bit of a sad old git, didn't you, eh? Isn't it funny how we sneer at old people? It's funny, we don't do it, but it's sort of on our mind. They're so uncool, the old. Oh, they were even uncool when they were young, weren't they? Flat caps, crap telly, uninteresting game of football they used to play. You see them on our old film, black and white, scuttling about up and down the pitch in those big shorts. Well, let me tell you now, they had flipping big bollocks. All right. That's why their shorts were so big, yeah. That's why I fit their portions in. That's what that was about. That's why the game was so slow, yeah? It was as much as they could do to drag their colossal scrotums up and down the pitch. Oh, what a tremendous run this young fella's making. Marvellous lightning attack. Oh, somebody's trotting on his scrotum. He won't get far. We think we're the lads, don't we? We think we're the boys, we're the business. We should have a little bit of humility, eh? Liam Gallagher, Robbie Williams, George Formby had more trouser gravy than the two of them put together. No wonder he was always smiling, eh? I'm leaning on the lamppost with me scrotum full of sperm until... Anyway, as I said, sociologists are increasingly worried, it's true, it's in the papers, about the mental well-being of young men. As they get more isolated from society, they become more interested in violence, more aggressive. And, just to digress for a moment, this whole SAS thing, you know, the books about the SAS, there's been a publishing phenomenon. SAS books, it's incredible. SAS are bigger than Delia Smith. Here you go. But why are these books so popular? I mean, what are you saying about yourself, you know? Sat on a bus reading Bravo 20. You might as well have I'm a little bit sad written on your forehead in biro. Oh dear, yeah, some of the lads are a little worried about that, aren't they? Not sure, are you? Thinking, steady on, Ben, respect, you know what I'm saying? Respect, you know, it's a history book, that is, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Bravo 20, yeah. It's not stupid lad stuff, it's a proper history book, that is, yeah? About Britain's best, yeah, that's what they're saying, it. Britain's best, the elite of the best. Of the best, of the elite, of the elitist, of the very best, of the elite, of the best. Best at what? Self-publicity, granted, but I thought they were supposed to be secret. Wouldn't be very difficult for a foreign spy to find them when they're signing books at Waterstones, is it, eh? Would you say to Doris, bang? No. The whole Bravo 20 phenomenon is based on a failed mission. A complete fiasco in the Gulf. That's what it was. The SAS wandering around the desert looking for the Iraqis. This is Britain's best, I might remind you. They can't find an Iraqi in Iraq. We could have done that, couldn't we? We could have helped them out with that. No, not in desert, lads. No water, no food. Iraqi not stupid. Go to Baghdad where they live. But no, the SAS, they're all wandering around. Anyone seen the Iraqis? No, I haven't seen them. You've seen them. Oh, what's it say here? Towel on head, little bit irritable. Anybody seen them? No, I've not seen them. And we're Britain's best. Imagine if they'd sent the crap. They were lost. It's true, they were lost. The SAS, they're always getting lost. Every mission, they got lost in the Gulf. they got lost in the Congo, Central America, they got lost. Why do they never know where they're going? I'll tell you what the problem is. I've spotted it. The SAS, they've always got those black bars in front of their eyes, haven't they? No wonder they don't know where they are. Lift the bar, lads. All will become clear. Anyway, never mind the SAS. That was a digression. Back to the current vogue for empty testicles. Men are taking this worry very seriously, and more blokes are having sperm tests to make sure there's enough lumps in the custard, so to speak. And doctors are saying, it's all in this survey, doctors are saying that lots of blokes won't have the test. They want to have it, but they won't because they're too embarrassed. They think that even having it tested is some insult to their masculinity, you know? Well, I think it's time us blokes grew up about their sperm test, you know? Overcome your fear. Have one. It's easy. I've had one. I can help you with it. No, I don't. I don't mean I'm going to come round your houses and slap your monkeys for you. What I'm saying, don't worry, I know, I can see they're nervous. I don't do audience participation. Back to sperm test. Firstly, a lot of blokes think they think it's all sleazy. You see, that's what worries them. They think you've got to go to a public institution, and of course sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes you'd have to go to the hospital, you'll sit there in the waiting room, you know. One by one, you know, you go into the little slapping room and there's a pile of dirty mags, and if you're in there more than 3 minutes, you know that all the lads outside are thinking, come on, how long does it take to choke your chimp, for God's sake? You know, you're in there, they're out there thinking he's reading the articles in the magazines, I swear it, World War I biplanes and Jaguar cars. Well, usually it's not like that anymore, right? These days, the clinic prefer you to produce your sample, so to speak, at home, which is much more civilised. I mean, they'll still lend you the mag, lads, yeah, don't worry about that, yeah. You won't be able to get it open, but they'll let you borrow it. Bit of a grown too far. Bit much, that one, yeah. I'm just getting the parameters of the audience there. Anyway, the point is, what I'm saying is they let you do it at home because if kept warm, sperm will survive outside the body for 1 hour. So long as you can get it back to the clinic in that time, they like you to do the business at home. That's what they do now, which is nicer. It's much less intimidating. And there's even an upside, you know? Yeah, there is. For the first time in your life, lads, you get to have a completely legitimate hand shandy. Oh, yes. No sneaking off to the toilet for you that morning, no. It's in the sitting room, loud and proud. On the sofa in front of the fire. Right, love, I'm going to have a slap. I don't care if your mother is coming round. This is a medical necessity. Anyway, I'll tell you the rest of the story in a minute. But first, we're going to have a little treat now, because in a week, when it was announced that the Swiss are going to build a full-size working replica of the Titanic to celebrate the millennium, it's true, makes the dome look quite sensible, doesn't it, really? Please welcome, to discuss matters maritime, the award-winning comics from Down Under, Roy and HG.
Thanks very much, Ben. Roy and HG here once again on the tug, and this week Roy, the Titanic, has produced a lot of odd spin-offs, at least in the newspapers over the last little while, and they seem to be coming thick and fast. Obviously the film, the rather dull film, the Oscar-laden film, the boring, 4.5-hour epic, every time I see it, it seems to get...
Oh, the King of the World film.
The King of the World film. Now, that's produced some weird spin-offs, and we now have at least a couple of firms prepared to rebuild the old bugger. The four chimneys, ... Yeah. And, look, Roy, could this work? Is this a wise idea? Will we get anything out of this? And should the various competing consortium race their boats to New York?
What, from Southampton?
Yeah, so Southampton.
Look, I'm a Titanic freak.
Yeah.
I always have been. I cannot get enough of the Titanic. I mean, it was such a mystery, such a bloody big boat, and it sunk because it hit an iceberg. I mean, you think it's a simple story, but it's not.
No.
There's so much in that. I mean, it was a big boat. It hit an iceberg.
It went down.
Sunk. You know what I mean?
People drowned.
And you think a lot of people drowned. There weren't enough boats.
No.
I think every nation in the world should build a Titanic. I'd love to see a big Titanic off. I don't know how many countries in the world there are. There seem to be more coming into the world all the time.
Say 204.
Let's say there are 400 countries. Well, there mightn't be, but let's say that there might be.
Yeah.
400 Titanics lined up at Southampton. Off they go. Let's see which country is the best. I think it should be taught in schools. Special subject, universities, at Cambridge and Oxford. Titanic. How many questions can you ask about the Titanic? How bloody big was it? How much water did it displace? If you were standing at sea level and you saw the top of the bloody mast, how far away is it? How many people could fit on it? If you had to run from, I don't know, cabin number 144 via the windlass to the captain's cabin, how long would it take? How far would you go? Why did you go? Why was it such a big, stupid, bloody ship? I mean, there are some questions for kiddies.
That's right. Roy, does the film inspire you?
I hated the film.
No, shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I want to get an answer!
I knew the ending!
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Roy and HG. Right, so I was telling you about my sperm test, wasn't I? So anyway, first thing, of course, you have to do is you have to go to the clinic to get the pot. I mean, obviously, you do the business at home, but you've got to go and get the pot, obviously. And when you go, the doctor, he explains, he tries to, he's a bit, but he says, you do understand what is required, Mr. Elton, you do realise what is... I said, yes, doctor, I think I can just about recall. I may be a little rusty, It could be as much as 3 or even 4 hours since last I visited Mrs. Hand and her 5 lovely daughters. So anyway, the doctor gives you the pot, right? And you take the pot home, obviously, and in your own time, gentlemen, when you're in a relaxed frame of mind, it's one off the wrist into the pot, which incidentally is not easy. I mean, these are very small pots, right? And ejaculation is not an exact science, I mean, like, you have to catch it, They should give you a funnel. They really should. It isn't easy, but eventually you get it into the pot, as you do, and obviously you put the top on the pot. If you can fit the flipping top on the pot. I said, Tommy, that's no good. Tiny little pot. I'll take your dustbin, mate. Here we go. 10 minutes later, I'm back. It's slopping over the side. There you go. Don't test that. You'll have to wrestle the little sods first. Dolphins coming out of my dick. Anyway. And the strange thing is how exposed you feel. It's pathetic, but suddenly I'm feeling like this is a test of my manhood. I'm thinking I've failed. I'm looking at this pot, I'm thinking, that's not enough. That's no good. I can't hand that into the nurse. She'll laugh. It's like a sparrow sneezed. I'm standing there trying to wring me willy out. I'm thinking she'd take one look at it. I thought, I don't think there's one in there, Mr. Elton. I'm not sure. I swear, I'm standing there. I'm that ashamed. I'm thinking of eking it out with a bit of flour and water. But you are what you are, I suppose. So like I say, you put the top on the pot and you've got to get back to the clinic. This is all true. Now, as I said, you have to get back within an hour, right? And you also have to keep it warm, as near to body temperature as you can, right? So the doctor's advice is absolutely true, is pop it down your pants, yeah. Just get the pot, pop it down your pants. Work it into a warm crevice. If possible, shove it up your bum. It's true. That's what they tell you to do. Now stick it down my pants, right? And I'm off out into the streets giving it Charlie Chaplin walk, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, oh Christ, I hope I don't get knocked down by a car now, I mean, it's not actually illegal or anything, get caught with a pot of warm sperm in your pants. It just doesn't look good, does it? You just don't want to have the conversation. Your mum visits you in hospital. You say, I hope you were wearing clean underpants, Benji. I'll say, I'm sorry, Mum, it's much worse than that. So, you've got to be careful, but you've also got to rush, right? Because you've only got an hour. So, I'm looking at my watch and thinking, 55 minutes left, 54 minutes. Taxi, taxi. Excuse me, mate, can I take this, please? I've got some sperm up my bum and it's dying. So anyway, you hand it in, you're a dirty bunch. So you hand it into the clinic, and then comes the worst time, right? Because you have to wait for your result. And suddenly, you feel your very masculinity is on the line. It's pathetic, isn't it? But I'm actually thinking, what if I fail? I'm talking in those terms, failure, success, it's pathetic. I'm thinking, I won't be a man. You know, and you get your letter. It's like getting your exam results. Your mates are ringing up going, "What'd you get? What'd you get?" Going, "I got a distinction." You don't want to open a letter, right? You know, you're thinking, "I wish I'd cheated. What did I do? I wish I'd used someone else's dick," you know. Now, believe me, this is a fact. The letter is a printed form, right? There's that many sperm tests. They just send you a printed form and they just fill your results in with a biro. Now, let me tell you, gentlemen, if you are ever in a position of having to peruse one of these forms, brace yourselves. Sit down, have a drink, because they do not pull their punches. There's no, like, opening preamble. No dear sir or anything friendly. None of that. No, it just says, "Sperm test, Elton, B, result," right? First line, they're straight in, first line. 40% sluggish. That's a quote, sluggish. What a word to use about a man's load. I mean, couldn't they have come up with a more flattering term, you know, like relaxed, you know what I'm saying? "Oh yeah, your sperm's, you know, a little relaxed, Ben, but that's cool." No, they say sluggish. I've got this vision of all my sperm kind of treading water and floating on their backs in my seminal fluid. No, we ain't chasing no eggs for no one now, forget it. Some lazy little... Anyway, the second line was worse. It's getting worse, not better. I'm on the floor, I've fainted. They're trying to bring me around it. It says 53% swimming in the wrong direction. That's true, that's what it said. I'm thinking, I've got stupid sperm. This stuff's been backing away up me dick all these years. Then I'm thinking, hang on, this test is rigged. How are they supposed to know what's the right direction? They're a poor little sotter in a plastic pot. They're all swimming about hither and thither. They don't know where they are. Anyone seen an egg? No, I don't know where we're going. They're like the SAS in Iraq. Anyway, I'll tell you all about the rest of that in a minute. But first, here's a very special treat. Please welcome the wonderful Ronnie Corbett.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello. Always the ad-lib there, I just came to my mind. I said, say it. I'm a little bit excited. Do I look flushed at all? Because, no, please, because I have just come from successfully... You recognized the Charlie Chaplin walk, didn't you? I've never had to be so careful in all my life. I've just come from just arrived from successfully auditioning for this year's big panto at the Little Theatre upstairs, Broadstairs. Then we're going to tour to the Little Theatre downstairs, along the passage, out the door, behind the wheelie bin, Tunbridge Wells. Now, it should be. I think I'd have to say come again. It should be a very splendid production because it actually stars me and the Nolan sisters. And it's going to be called 7 Snow Whites and a Dwarf. The producer is none other than my old friend Seamus Finkelstein, who, I must admit, has a little bit of a nasty temper. Well, he has had ever since he was a baby and a rather go-ahead rabbi used a pencil sharpener. So, Seamus politely inquired about my experience. No, he didn't actually. He shouted, "Have you ever done any acting, Four Eyes?" I said, "Good heavens," I said. "I was in the Mousetrap for 18 months, and..." No, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking in the Mousetrap he's going to do another of those silly small jokes, like pretending he was once buried in an avalanche while cleaning out the cat tray. Well, I'm not. We never even had mousetraps at home. I was always sent down the hole to negotiate. Now, this week's story is actually about an octopus and concerns a chap who got himself a job in a zoo. I actually heard the joke to be truthful, the other night at the set designer, the fellow who designs the set, his farewell party, and well, do you wonder? Anyway, it was a it's a very quiet affair. Actually, as good times go, it would rate about the same as being trapped in a lift. So the zookeeper says to the new man, what you do is you get the octopus out of the tank, dump him in a wheelbarrow, clean out the tank, then you put him back again. Off you go and try. So a little while later, the chap comes back. He said, I can't get him out of the tank. He said, you know, he keeps holding onto the glass with his suckers. You know, a slip of the tongue here, and I could be back on Teletubbies. And I'm telling you, it could be pretty hot in these romper suits. So the man in charge said, if he won't behave himself, the octopus, you will have to use the shovel. So a few minutes later, the chap comes back. He said, it's no good. As soon as I prise one of the arms off of the shovel, he gets a grip with the other one like that. The head man said, no, you don't do it that way at all. You take the shovel, you see, give him a whack on the head with it, and he goes, oh, me head, then you pick him up.
Thank you. Ronnie Corbett, and of course he'll be back next week. So, we were talking, were we not, about my sperm test result, as one does on national television. This is a serious routine, because I must say, the whole experience of that sperm test, it genuinely taught me a lot about myself. I mean, you know, there I was thinking I was, you know, relatively a new man, you know, not bought into all that sort of macho crap, and yet this sperm test reduced me to a quivering wreck. You know, I was like, oh, I'm not a man, it's pathetic. We have to develop a sense of humour about ourselves and our inadequacies. We need to laugh at ourselves. I mean, some people do. It's a bit of a diatribe, this is good. I was in Soho the other day, right? I saw this group of women, they were coming out of a sex shop, right? And it was great, because they weren't all embarrassed, they were having a laugh. They weren't embarrassed at all, they were just laughing. You know, it was a joke. They bought all these dildos and rubbish like that. They were laughing, they go, oh, blimey, look at that in my dreams. Ah! Look at that knob ring, that'd rattle about on my old man. Ah! I mean, I'm not saying the standard of comedy was high, I'm just saying they were having a laugh, and it was great. It was liberating, because that's, you know, that's what all those sex aids are about, isn't it? I mean, they're just a joke, they're a laugh. All that split crotch this and studied that is a joke. People buy them for presents. Nobody actually uses any of that stuff. Oh dear. I fear I've failed to leap the cultural divide here tonight. Yeah, I can see some of the women in the audience a little doubtful, yeah, thinking, well, he's got that one wrong, hasn't he? Speak for yourself, Mr. Elton. I've got my oriental love balls up me muff as you speak. Well, I wouldn't blame you for that, girl. You probably thought, I don't know, Ben might be a bit boring this week. I know, I'll shove the love balls up, and if he gets dull, I'll give him a clank, have an orgasm. Bloke sat next to you, what's that clanking, love? You got the love balls up? Yes, I've got them up. I'm having a lovely night, me. Do you know what? I am fascinated by those love balls. I would love a go at them. I would. I'm fascinated. If I had the right bits, I tell you, that'd be the first thing I'd do. Double set, wallop, straight up. Well, nothing would matter, would it? I mean, everything in life would be a joy. Every little thing. Oh, I'll take the rubbish out, darling. I like a stroll, you know. Everything would be lovely, you know, waiting for a bus. People would be saying, oh, the flipping bus is late. You'd be going, yes. The bus is late. How's the bus being late for you, then? What about running for a bus? You'd never make it, would you? They'd be jiggling about inside. You'd be Polax with orgasmic ecstasy. Everyone else would be on the bus off to work. You'd be prostrate in the gutter having a fag. Looking up at passers-by saying, go on then, lover, make us a cup of tea then, go on. Mind you, I can see a bit of doubt in the audience. I must confess, girls, I mean, I'll tell you what, you want to be a bit careful with those things, wouldn't you, eh? I mean, think about it. Because you know how, seriously, you know how easily embarrassed we all are about little things, you know? Like any little thing. Like you're in a supermarket and, I don't know, your bag bursts and all your spuds are rolling all over the place. It's mortification, isn't it? Oh, I'm so embarrassed. My bag burst, all my spuds are rolling. I could have died. I wanted to kill myself. I could have died. I wanted to kill myself. Well, imagine, right? You're in a supermarket, fully loaded up, you know what I'm saying? And your gusset gives way, right? Out they come, bouncing around the shop, rolling under people's trolleys. You begin, oh, excuse me, love, can I shift your basket, please? Thanks very much. There we go. Some little old bloke, you don't know what they are. He says, I've collected these for you, love. Anyway, where was I? Sorry, we've gone off there. We've gone too far, yes. But, no, of course I was. There was a theme. I knew there was. I was talking to you about my letter from the test laboratory. Well, as I say, it just got worse and worse. Every line, every percentage was worse. And by the end, it says 80% inadequate. 80% no good. I'm thinking, I failed my sperm test. I'm not a man. Can you take it again? Is it like your driving test, you know? Yeah, actually, I failed mine 4 times, but, you know, only because my tester was a complete swine, you know? But anyway, at the bottom of the letter, the light shines. Because it says normal. Normal, fine. Not bad, not good. Bog standard dollop, not bad. Because what I learnt that day was that for all our masculine pretensions, the basic stuff of life is generally inadequate, yeah. It's true, the vast majority of sperm, they're useless. They're lazy, they're sluggish, they're wandering this way and that, they don't know where they're going, they're confused. They're like a pub full of blokes, really. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this week, except for one thing, because one of the best things about having your own show is you get to ask the people on that you want to see. Well, my self-indulgence is your good fortune, because here, singing a track from her brilliant new album, which is called simply Kylie Minogue. Bit lazy, that, actually. I mean, we here on the Ben Elton Show disapprove of self-titled product. Anyway, it's great. Album's called Kylie Minogue. You should definitely check it out. And here is, to give us a track of it, the very wonderful Kylie!
Just because I am bored, I'm needy. I need to taste it all done down me. Just because I am quiet, I'm thinking about it all. I'm helpless about the way me, and I'm thinking about it all. I'm sorting everything inside. I'm looking in the space, this time, this void. I'm making my way through the muddy minutes. The pulling's in my muscle, the ache is in my bones, and it's hard to be alone. Breathe, breathe, it won't be long now. Breathe, breathe, it won't be long now. Breathe, breathe, it won't be long now. Breathe, breathe. This time, this point, I'm making my way through the muddy minutes. The pulling's in my muscle, the ache's in my bones, and it's hard to be alone. Breathe, breathe, it won't be long now. Breathe, breathe, it won't be long now. Breathe, breathe, it won't be long.
It's a good evening for me. And it's a good